we actually don't have much to share. We have a lot more to converse. And I think the theme of the day has been so tectonic that we've had a lot of chats around mindsets and innovation on our mind. So I thought maybe I'll just start off with this particular experiment or particular experience somebody shared with me, wherein they were doing a research and they put out a lot of Lego games to 3 children. And the first child picked up hurriedly and started making, figurines with the Legos. The second child picked up what she liked, and then she started thinking about what else can be done with the others. And the third child picked up some pieces and kept some complicated pieces aside, thinking, what she's going to make with it. Of the 3, how many of you think child A is got more innovative mindset? Just hands up. No one? No hands for child A? Child B? Okay, I can see a few hands up there. And child C? Okay, so lot more for child C. And as it goes, actually it was child A and child C. Child B was less creative. Whenever we go into this analogy of, what you like and how you go about it, we link it to more creative ways of working. And that usually gives rise to, something which may be personal, but yet not very innovative. So when we look at child A and child C, child A is the impatient child, which is trying to make something out of it, and child C is the patient child who's yet analyzing what to do with these bits and pieces. So here what you have is child A and child C. So Pranav is the impatient guy and I'm the patient person, and we'll get started with the conversation, Pranav.
Can you all hear me? Yeah. So I come from a background where I believe that there has to be a purpose to everything that we do. And we don't just do jobs just for the sake of, earning money or something. So there are a lot of startups that started in India, but they somehow fail to live with that. They start with the purpose, but they cannot keep up with the same thing, and there'll be a lot of structural changes. So how can we an organization structure sustain with its core values when they have a rapid growth? Like when they're a team of 100, they might be having some core values, but how can they sort of preserve them when they explode into like 100,000 employees or something like that?
Yeah. So I think Pranav talks about a really important point, which is purpose. Why are we here? Why do we exist? And that's probably for us and for the organizations. And I think, Pranav, from the experience that I've had, core values for growth is really what you're asking, is all about delivering the promise. And I think the what remains the same, the how keeps changing over a period of time. So when you grow from 100 to 1,000, what is that how? But so long as you're focused on delivering the promise and keeping the customer in the center of that promise, and also keeping the employees in the center of the promise, it will fulfill. So I think sometimes the mistake people might make is they're not changing the how, because what got them here, they believe will get them there. Keeping in time with what is required next and how it needs to be done is very important. And I think there is this bit where you let go of what you really like, you focus on what you need to do. So if you are delivering the promise, keeping customers and employee in the center, and being agile in terms of letting go, I'm sure success will come your way. So I have a question for you, Pranav. At such a young age, there's a lot that you have achieved as well. Tell us about your inspiration.
So I'd like to share a small story. I was actually fortunate enough to be mentored by Kalam sir, Abdul Kalam. So he once, just to give a story of this purpose itself, he once asked me to go to a place in Chennai to interact with some children. So I went to a place which is like a red light area, and I was interacting with the people, the children who were born in that red light area. So I met a 10-year-old kid named Raju. So I asked him what is his daily routine and all that. So he said he gets up at 6 in the morning, he plays with his friends and all that, but by 8 o'clock he gets ready for school. So he said his house is like almost like maybe 1/5 or 1/6 of this stage. And he said it's divided into 2 rooms with a curtain. So Raju has food on one side of the room. On the other side of the room, his mom is sleeping with another guy because his mom is a prostitute. I mean, that's when Kalam sir sent me there, I realized that there is so much of injustice that is happening in the society. And that kid doesn't deserve such a life. So then when I came back, he asked me, can we do something about it? Then he pointed out hundreds of such problems that are in the country right now. So that was, then I tried to, I thought I'll start an NGO to solve the problem and all that. But then I realized that there are thousands of such children. You cannot bring all those people into your NGO, right? So I thought, why can't, there are already thousands of children like that and thousands of NGOs which are working. So I thought, why can't we bring all of them onto one platform, and then we build this platform called Just Change, in which there are more than 2,000 NGOs right now. So then I realized that using technology, we can really solve like many real world problems. So that's how I started. And I started looking at problems, and I was looking at how we can use technology to solve these problems. So basically, that's how I started my journey.
That's fabulous. It's very, very inspirational for all of us. So thank you for sharing that.
I wanted to ask you a question. And this question is primarily in the focus of, there are a lot of entrepreneurs right now. At the same time, there are a lot of, and now currently we are living in the age of millennials. So when you have a lot of, so there's always this debate between meritocracy versus tenurocracy. So how can we sort of have a balance between the old and the new? Because there's always a learning curve. These people come with a different kind of mindset, and people who already have decades of experience, they have a different kind of mindset. So how can an organization set up, basically how can they have this balance between tenurocracy and meritocracy?
I think before I talk about tenure and merit, you brought up mindsets. And I don't know how many of you read the book of Carol Dweck, which talks about mindsets. And she talks about growth mindsets and fixed mindsets. So highly recommended in case you haven't read it. And growth mindset is about seeing opportunities in anything that you do. And fixed mindset is always reacting to problems that face you. So I think when we debate about merit and tenure, for me, it is all about realism, about what is realistic. And, a couple of, I think, months back, I was on one of the premier business school campuses. And as I was interviewing this person, I asked him, so what do you want to do in about 8 to 10 years' time from now? And he said, well, I want to be CEO of the bank. And I kind of thought to it myself. And it was my initial reaction, and maybe because I don't belong to the generation of Pranav, was, oh, that's a bit cheeky. I mean, do you really know what being a CEO of a big bank takes? But then I had to pause, and I said, maybe he can. And so we started running. I said, let's run through this. So to be a CEO, what do you need? So he said, I need client experience, I need risk experience, I need operations experience, and I think maybe some sales experience. So I said, fabulous. So 4 key experiences. How long do you think you need to spend time doing these jobs to gain that experience? So he said, well, at a minimum about 3 years. So I said, 3 into 4, 12. What else do you need? He said, some people management, some compliance, some governance. So another 3, 4 years. So that was already 14 or 15. But when we walked it through like that, he realized that there is value to time. I mean, there is no shortcut to success. And merit or the cream rises to the top anyways. So I think in today's day and age, actually the whole debate about tenure is redundant. It's all about merit and talent. But at the same time, you've got to be realistic that you have to work hard, you have to push the boundaries, and you have to be creative as you become future forward. So my question to you next, Pranav, is that, given this, initiative that you started, what has been your biggest challenge in that?
So before starting Makers Hive, I was part of Tata R&D group. I was overseeing about 20, 30 different projects. They're all R&D projects. So when when I was part of Tata, it was so easy for us because you have fixed financial resources. You don't have to look back. There's already systems and protocols set up. But when you come out and when I had to start a company, yes, there were so many problems with respect to finding an investor, but finding talent and hiring and all this. But what's much more difficult, what I felt, is when you have to find people who understand what you want to do. It's not about what you do. It's not just about what you do. It's about why you do what you do, and it's about inculcating that sense of responsibility in them. So what I'm trying to I faced a very big difficulty, but then I realized when the same exercise that Kalamsa had done with me, when I can expose these people to the harsh realities of what's happening out there. So then I realized, these people also will be able to connect. So I once called one of our test subjects. So we are working on a bionic hand. We are building fully functional bionic hands for people who do not have hands. So I called one of the test subjects. Her name is Gayatri. And in front of the entire team, I asked her, what is so she was born with only one hand. So I asked her, what is the first and foremost thing that you would do if we give you a hand? She said she has a 2-year-old kid, but she never picked up her kid with both her hands. And she said, as soon as we give her a hand, that's the first thing that she would do. And when all the people working at Makers Hive, when they heard this, that's when they realized that, they're not just working for some monetary gain. They're working for things beyond just that. And they can see this purpose that is, and that's how basically that was the most difficult part, and that's how we are tackling it right now. By putting them in environments, I believe in the power of storytelling. So we are trying to bring these real world problems to the employees in Makers Hive to sort of, keep them motivated, and they have a purpose, not just, to walk in at 9 in the morning and walk back to home, at 5. So they have a purpose. They are completely driven to, work. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. And as I think I was listening to you, I'm sitting close to you, so I could almost sense the passion which you are talking with. So well done. And, I think the future belongs to younger generations like you.
So I wanted to ask you a question about, there are hundreds and thousands of startups in the country right now and all across the globe, but 95% of them fail. So what do you think is that one X factor that can sort of, differentiate between, that can convert a normal startup into a conglomerate? So what do you think is that one X factor?
Can I say 3?
Okay.
I think, it takes a lot of courage to get into a startup mode. And, I can sense the journey that you've gone through, and I have, a very special person in the room who's going through this journey as well. But I think in my view that it's really a 3X thing, which is, make sure you continue building on your experience. So the experience you have, enhance it, right? I think have the right expectations and expand them, and have the right, and do the right experimentation so that you can leverage it to really build into the future. So my belief is if you follow the 3X, hopefully you will have a growth of 2X. Okay. So just my last question to you, and then hopefully we'll get into the conversation with the audience, is what really drives you? What really keeps you going? I mean, and pushing, how do you push yourself forward on this journey?
I honestly was finding, and I was trying to find that answer for myself. So I have another mentor. His name is Professor M.S. Swaminathan. He's also known as the father of Green Revolution. And currently we are working with him on a project called Evergreen Revolution. But 6 years ago, when I met him for the first time, he asked me a very simple question. He asked me, do you love your country? I said, yes, I love my country. And then he asked me why. So I said, because I'm born here. So he said, is your love for your country bounded by an accident by birth? That means if you're born on the other side of the border, you'll love Pakistan or whatever. So he asked me, is it your love for your country so minuscule that you would only, I mean, it's just because you're born there, you love it. It's more like, your love for IPL teams. You know, I'm from Chennai, I like Chennai Super Kings. I'm from Hyderabad, I like Sunrisers. So he sort of kept on asking me, so what is it that you take pride of? So I said, you know, there's a lot of ancient wisdom, Vedas and all that. He was like, yeah, every country has its own, you know, culture and all that. So what is that? He kept on asking me, what is that one thing? And then I still could not answer. So I asked him, sir, why do you do what you do? I mean, he was the pioneer behind solving the agrarian crisis. So then he opened his laptop, and then he opened the preamble of the Indian Constitution. And then he started reading all those words. He said, that's what drives me. And that day I realized how important it is to you know, have a bigger cause in life. I mean, then he told me about how India is not just the geographical borders. I mean, he had the idea of India that was framed by so many masterminds, and that can sort of, it goes beyond geographical boundaries. So he said he's working for that. And that day I realized that, you know, I felt I found my purpose. That drives me. Every single day since then, I open the preamble of the Indian Constitution and I read it, and that's how I continue my day. And he also shared another story with me. So when when the Green Revolution was going on, the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri visited this whatever research was going on, the research facility, and he saw a sweeper there. So he asked the sweeper, what are you doing here? Any sweeper would say, I'm just sweeping the floor. But he said, I'm trying to help these people solve the agrarian crisis. So he showed a sort of, you know, a connection. I mean, even a sweeper or a security were connected to a higher mission. So when we can sort of build all this kind of organization structure, I feel that, and I'm trying to build that. And every day when I meet these people, that's what drives me. Like when even when you come to Makers Hive, there's no difference between a security or a CEO. Everyone tries to do their job. And when I meet them, that's the only thing that keeps driving me the entire day.
Well, thank you and well said. And I think finding your purpose is one of the tougher tasks that each of us struggle with. So it's great to hear that you found one, because I think maybe I'm older than you, and I think over a period of time, my purpose has evolved. And I thought I started to get somewhere, but as you get there, you feel the goalpost has just changed. You know, unlike where you've had the benefit of some great mentoring, when I got out of school, it was about, you know, get to a good education, get financial security, get a good family, and life is blissful. And it wasn't. So I think it's very important, whether it's your generation or mine, to keep that hunger alive and keep evolving that purpose and keep realizing. And I think what I've been fascinated when I reflect back is how much more potential we have. I have a 20-year-old daughter, and you know, once I was talking to her that if I was 20 again, what would I do differently? I would certainly take more risk in my life, which I didn't. So with that, we'll open it up for questions. We have about 10 minutes left, and you know, Pranav and I can keep going, but we just wanted to do a check-in if there were any questions for either of us. Either we've been very boring or we have dumbfounded the audience. I'm struggling to find exactly what the answer is. So Pranav, it looks like we can continue conversing at this point of time. Do you have any questions, or I can go on, but I'll probably come back to you first.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, there are so many software, so much of technology in terms of human resource management and all, but what I feel is that the most of the organizations are still missing that one factor, that is again, purpose driven. 95% of the people who are going to work nowadays in India, I mean, the reason they work is, you know, only because they're getting paid. Yeah. So how will this change? How do you think we bring about a change in this?
I think my view is that in India, and I was just reminiscing what the previous panel was talking about, we're yet at that cusp of, we are very excited about what what is coming our way in terms of innovation, technology. I was roaming around all those stalls some time back, and I could see the excitement and the zing about, I've got this software. But there are two things which stand out for me. One is the big picture. How does this all connect? It's a bit like when you go to a hospital, you have a doctor for your heart, for your liver, for your kidneys, for your skin, for your bones, but who's looking at you holistically? So that's my challenge to all the tech professionals out there. Don't give me what works for talent and payroll and all of that. Give me an integrated, I'm not looking for ERP. Because for me, tech has to be an enabler to give us more leeway to make a better connect. And I've always believed that technology is not an end in itself. It is an enabler. So very often when I'm looking at the way things are panning out in India, it's a very, very exciting phase where everybody wants to get out there and do different things. You found your purpose about how you want to leverage technology. But when I come back to organizations, I yet find we're in very piecemeal mode. We don't yet have a holistic view, and I'm not just talking HR, I'm talking about the entire organization. I find that very often tech solutions are being used to cut cost. And my limited view is it should be used to enrich life, right? Like we are all HR professionals here, and very often we launch a tech system because we can get a few people redundant, or we can get them out and we can reduce costs because now we have this beautiful system. Have you ever thought about redeploying those employees to have more high quality conversations with our employees? I mean, as an HR head who's worked across the globe, I have not ever found an employee who hasn't told me, all I want to do is have a conversation with you. And I just think in this whole, I know I'm in a tech conference, so I don't want to be too controversial, but in this whole tech race, are we missing the human connect? So my question to you is, going back to technology, how do we leverage it properly? How do we use it to enrich lives the way you're doing more in the corporate world?
I think there's a lot of contrast between how technology is being adopted in the West and here in India. So I've seen, I have a lot of, I don't have a lot of exposure to corporate world, but I have a lot of exposure towards farmers and the underprivileged. And when so we did a small experiment of, just taking a camera and we gave it to these children, the children in the red light area. So, and we saw what they would do with it. So then I understood something very, very interesting. So the way they didn't know how a camera operates, so first they were figuring out what it was, and then they realized what it can do, and then we left this camera and we with them, and we saw what they would do with it in a single day. So they came out with some very, very interesting pictures. So what I realized then is human life as such is very like plants. It's very organic. And I feel technology has to enhance it, just like the way we provide the right environment for the plant to grow, but you don't sit there and make the plant grow. So I feel technology has to do the same job. It should only be able to enrich, but life happens by itself. So I think we should just find what are the areas where technology can be involved, and then try to integrate only in areas that is required, not try to have hundreds and thousands of analytics around what a person is doing when he's swiping in, when he's swiping out. I think it should only be used, like I said, to enrich life even in organizations. Yeah.
So just a few last comments from me, and then I'll give you the mic before we've just got a few minutes left. But I think when I come to conferences like this, and so much is spoken, so much is discussed, so much is debated. As I walked around the corridors, I realized, excuse me, that it's a very busy conference. It's, there's just so much I want to take back. But I think it's a bit like life happens when you're busy doing so many other things, right? And I think it's, for me, a moment of where you pause and reflect about where do you want to take this further. And I would encourage you, to look at some of the discussions which are ongoing and reflect and pause for yourself about what's your purpose, how are you going to build a legacy, and where are you going to take this journey? Don't let this conference be just a networking event, looking at some good systems, which is of course the one, couple of things that you must be doing, but make sure in some ways it adds to your search or your calling of finding what your purpose is, because in your searching will be your calling.
I just have one last question to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a huge LGBT movement going on all across the globe, and what we try to do is as we are building the prosthetic hands, so we try to build the entire assembly line with transgenders. Okay, so in a country like India with a lot of stereotypic thinking, so how do you think can organizations sort of bring in this LGBT movement and basically have that equality in the organization?
So look, personally, I think in my bank, we've been doing a lot of work around it, which is out there. So I will not go through what we've done in RBS, but we are a LGBT ally bank. I think LGBT, like many other inclusion debates, is again about mindsets. And this is a hugely social issue. In my view, repealing of 377 does not change mindset, but it's a huge boost to the community where the definition of love is love. It really doesn't matter who you love. Love can't be wrong, right? And I think that's the affirmation that repealment of 377 brought about. But I think we are far away from accepting it fully. And organizations or corporates, can support that journey. I'm actually less into, going into parades where we can show our support, but really going out there and providing that safe and secure environment. I have multiple friends who are part of LGBT community, and very often they say, we don't want to come out because we don't want to be part of office gossip. We don't want to be part of jokes. We know people will talk about us. So I am fine. But think about it. I mean, I would urge each one of you to think, if you have to live like somebody you are not, how claustrophobic that might be. So I think we owe it to the community to make it safe, secure, and inclusive. Corporates can have policies, they can have processes, but I think we basically need to change mindsets, and that's a slow journey. It's not going to happen just through training. So I think every step counts. As they say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a small step. I think we are 5 steps into it, but we've got 1,000 miles to go.
Just to add my last comments, there are a lot of, I've seen a lot of people discussing quite a lot of topics here. But what's happening is these conferences, like you said, should not just be, for networking. I mean, we should take back something from it and we should be able to implement it. And what I feel is like if everybody here, when they go back, can make the entire organization more about purpose driven, I think that will be a true success of whatever we're trying to do here. So, yeah.
So we'll bring our conversation to a close on the stage, but we hope the conversation will continue on the drinks. Thank you. You've been a wonderful audience.